Is this thing on? Are we on? Is the camera on? Oh, welcome to TASA.
Welcome to the third episode of TASA Chats. I am your host, Mpho Mthombeni, and this is us, but I'm not alone today. I am with the very fun Nasipimpiti to give you the bulletins of what's been happening on our social media accounts. Nasipimpiti, give us the news, babe.
Thank you so much, Lebu. The lockdown has delayed a lot of people financially and thus has been causing a notable amount of frustration. You streaming the latest news with mytasaonline. Stay with us as we take you through what other people have been doing to sustain imali, thelete, geld. Several questions were posted on our social media platforms and the responses were as follows. On Instagram, people have been spending more ever since the lockdown started, and comparing that to Twitter, people have been spending slightly less. When you total both responses together, people have actually been spending more during the lockdown. The second question asked the viewers about the impact of the lockdown on financial decision making, and one viewer said that it makes one take a break from all the unnecessary spending, out of sight, out of mind. Another viewer said that it allows me not to take impulsive decisions. Because how many of us are bribed by the good old red sale banner? The last question was about the tricks the viewers have been using to sustain finances. The first viewer said, spend on what you need. I totally agree with this one. The second viewer says, no trick, I just spend on things I wanted to buy. Buy food in bulk, saved a lot on bulk specials, and most of the food lasted almost 2 months. Staying away from online shopping. Yep, be warned. This viewer says, firstly, I think it's important to have a budget from the beginning of the year. That is a monthly budget that is realistic for you and within your means. Within the budget, include your essentials and put away money for the hectic days. Days can be dark. Secondly, in terms of sustaining finances during lockdown, I'd suggest or advise one, not to buy unnecessary items or spend impulsively. So what I do is I look at how much I'm supposed to spend. For instance, in May for groceries and essentials, comparing it to the price of things that I actually need, while at home, and take that balance and put it away. Literally, couldn't have said it any better. Do not wait for days to be dark, guys. I don't even have 10 Rand in my account. Ish. Resist temptation, buy what you need, not what you want. The last viewer says, I don't have much to manage. The grant I receive only lasts me for the first 5 days. Thank you to all our beautiful viewers for interacting with us. Your responses are highly valued. Stay tuned on our social media platforms for more exciting questions. That's all from me. I will hand over to Lebu.
So, as you heard, people on Instagram have been spending more compared to people on Twitter that have been spending less. That is just the gist of what today's episode is about. Finances and resources. When we talk about finances, we talk about money matters. Thelete, geld, imali, the dollars, the rands, the pounds. So basically, what we're going to talk about is what our finances are, and especially now during lockdown and what we're facing as a global pandemic, things have slightly gone a bit harder than they were at first. And I'd like to say Happy Africa Day, Africa. Yes, just to tone down. So, but in all honesty, things are a bit hard on the pocket ever since lockdown has been initiated, and we would like to actually just take you down on how it has been compared to before now, and probably how it will be after lockdown. Give us a bit guidelines and tricks on how we can actually save more or acquire more money, because as much as money can't buy you happiness, it is quite essential, because that is what feeds us. It is what gets us a lot of resources, as we said, finances and resources. But not to waste any more of your time, to welcome our guest for the night. Wow, let us read his bio. It's quite long, but I guess it's worth it. Our guest today, I'd say guest, but I guess the post is out. So our guest today is a BCom accounting graduate at the University of the Free State, a first-year student at the University of KwaZulu Natal, studying a Bachelor's of Theology, majoring in systematic theology because he says he was influenced by his church. He is registered with the University of South Africa for a postgrad diploma in financial accounting. He has so many things under his name. He has headed an internal audit project in KwaZulu Natal at the Mzinyathi District Municipality under the Vusi Mazibuko Associates and Civil Engineers, auditing VIP toilets. He is the internal auditor and general worker at the Skululekile Funeral Home in the Free State. He is the founder of MSA Pty Limited, which majors in logistics, drones, and entertainment. Within 3 years, he went from being, trust me, from a branch PRO to a provincial treasurer, and today he is the national treasurer for the 12 Apostles Student Association. He is fascinated about finances and drones. He's an adrenaline junkie and was once a cyclist. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our guest for today, Thembinkosi Mazibuko, renowned as MJ Mazibuko, TG.
Thank you very much, Lebu. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here today with you, and I really appreciate your presence today. I would like to thank the organizing team of mytasaonline and the National Executive to actually grant us this opportunity to speak about such important matters during this difficult time. I hope everyone is home safe and healthy with their family and spending some quality time. I will start off with a very a quote that gets me going each and every day of my life. A French philosopher once wrote that the only religion of mankind is and has always been hope. We are stuck in a time where we don't know what will happen tomorrow or in the near future, but the only thing that we are left with is hope. So now our hope has been tested to the core since the president had declared a national lockdown, which later resulted in a lockdown. So now this measure was to prevent the spread of the virus. The lockdown actually forced us into self-isolation at our homes, restricted movement, access to majority of the things, and restricted economic activities. As a young individual, I'm an individual that is not used to being in one place. People who know me always see that every weekend I'm in a different province. That is how my life is. But now it has been very difficult to be locked down in a small yard, a small house with your family, and everything has just stopped and you just have to find a way around it. So now, why is it important for us to talk of finances and resource during this time? Basically, I will define what finances are to me. I believe finances are it's a term that describes all activities that associate with money. basically how we spend our money, how we save our money, how we invest our money, and how we acquire the money. And resources as anything valuable to us or useful to our lives that brings economic benefit unto our lives. So it's very important to talk about these two things because we know that finances play a major role in our lives and have a great impact in our health. Yesterday, Prof. Caesar Nongonga showed us how majority of deaths are caused by stress. So now, at this time like this, we do not need finances stressing us out and our immune system being able not to fight the virus if we do contact it. So now it's very important to ensure that we are in good health and we mitigate the financial stress and plan ahead. So today we'll break it down between finances and resources. We're all from different backgrounds and different households, and we are all experiencing different types of problems. Some from Instagram, some are experiencing a problem of not having anything to spend, even on essential goods, and not knowing what they will eat tomorrow. Some people have a problem of misusing the money they have and not knowing what to do with it. They are tempted with all these great online specials and sales that are currently going in, and they are misusing their money on things they don't necessarily need to fight this virus and to be able to move forward at home. So now I will basically go through a few points on how to manage and control our finances during this time. For sure, everyone has been taught this. It's the basic. Once we get the basics right, then we are set to go and we are sure that we are ready to encounter anything in the near future. Firstly, you need to create a budget. There is nothing that beats planning. What is an importance of a budget? A budget is a tool that allows you to manage your funds in terms of how much you are able to spend according to your expenditure. So now you have an income and there are expenses. Some of us are currently living on allowances. Some of us are living on savings, and some of us literally have nothing but rely on goods that are given by the government or any other non-government organization out there. So now, how do you create a budget? You first start by writing everything down. You plan, I have 100 rands and this is what I need and this is how I will spend my money. For example, my budget, I'm using the 70-20-10 money budget. That basically means that 70% of my money is the money that I use on my expenditure and my debts. So everything that is on my budget and the debts that I have to pay, I use 70% of the money I have. 20%, it's the money I save to ensure in such cases of coronavirus that I have savings in case of an emergency situation. And then 10% of my money, it is the money I pay for tithe. So now a budget can be structured in anyhow to satisfy your needs, because at first we don't have the same needs and wants or believe in the same things. So now you can research different types of budget and master a strategy of preparing a budget where you receive your money so that you ensure that you spend your money wisely. We are in difficult times of a coronavirus where we are sitting at home doing nothing. That requires us to eat a lot, to use a lot of data and so forth. So now start by drafting a budget. Number 2, set financial goals. In life, you should always strive for something and have a clear path on how to get it. Define clearly what your financial goal is and write it down and set a milestone along the way to help you achieve them. So now, what is a financial goal? A financial goal can be anything that will liberate you financially. So I believe most of us here are students and we are attending school to get degrees and get employment so that we are financially liberated. That can be our first financial goal. During this time, we set a goal on how we want to start preparing for our your academics to ensure that you graduate in record time, and you don't just graduate as just a mere ordinary graduate, but a graduate that is globally competitive anywhere in the world. That is one example of a financial goal. Some of us are in business. There are things that we want to see our business doing in the near future. So now it's important that we set and clearly define what we want to achieve during this time. We are given this time to sit at home and actually do an introspection and focus on whatever we want to be successful in. So this is not just a time to sit, but set financial goals and go for it. Thirdly, we'll talk about responsible spending. It's a very difficult time where one has to spend responsibly. As students, we tend to have a behavior of having small purchases. I don't know why, but we usually never buy anything in bulk or buy everything that we need at once. But we rather buy something that we need now, use it now, and then go back tomorrow and buy what I'll need tomorrow. At times like this, it's very important to ensure that from your budget, you make sure that you buy everything that you can afford at that time to avoid small purchases. Small purchases can result in a huge amount at the end of the day when you calculate your money. We are sitting at home, you are on YouTube, you are on Twitter, you are on social media platforms. Now and again, you are buying data frequently. So all those small purchases will not help you. Rather, buy a lot of data that will last you for the whole month if you are able to afford it, and use it wisely so that it does last you for the whole month. In terms of buying essential goods, one of our social media members said it's advisable to buy in bulk. That is very important to minimize the movement of going to the shops again and again. That also ensures that we are in good health by not going to the shops frequently. So now when you go to the shops, stick to your budget, buy everything in bulk, come back at home, and once everything is finished and you've got more money, then you'll go back and buy more of the things you need. Credit, very important factor in our lives, especially as youngsters, as young adults. We are fascinated about credit, that we will be able to pay it off. They are giving me a clothing account where I'll pay 100 Rand a month. No, that's doable. And then at the end of the day, you've just overspent on credit and you can't pay back the money. So now, once you have credit, leave the credit for all emergency situations. Don't misuse credit, because we don't know what will happen to our economy post-lockdown. So now we are trying as much as possible not to use the credit during this time unless it is necessary. Redundant credit spending will lead you into a lot of trouble, especially after lockdown. The other aspect, we'll talk about discount shopping. As students, we are sitting at home, we have our mobile phones and gadgets in our hands, and when we plan to go shopping, we must make sure that whatever we're going to buy is what we need at the cheapest price we can get. So now from your budget, you have made a list that this is what our essential goods are, and then you go online and actually Google all those products from different types of shops, so that you are able to get the discounted products at the different shops that they offer discount. So now once you have acquired that, then you decide on the one shop that is the lowest where you can buy all your essential products, and you go buy that. I'm not saying compromise the brand or compromise the quality, but you find this exact same brand and quality at shops, for example, as wholesalers or other shops that are selling at discount. So now try and research on that before you go out, so that you ensure that you are saving money. A few weeks ago, when we went to go buy EPUB at ShopRite, it's 49 Rand, 10 kilogram. And there is a wholesaler that is selling it for 39 Rand. And that 10 Rand actually made a difference in our budget, because we could buy something else with that 10 Rand from our budget. So now it's very important to actually do research that this is what we want, and these are all the prices, compare the prices, and then go to the different shops. And then lastly, monitor your finances. It won't help you to make a budget and not monitor it at the end of the day. Basically, to monitor is a stage where you evaluate and compare the actual prices with the budgeted prices. From there, then you can draft a report for yourself and write it down and clearly show that this is how I've spent my money. I've met my budget, or I went over budget, or I actually saved money with my budget, and then plan for the next upcoming grocery day, or plan for post lockdown. So it's very important to evaluate yourself and see how far you are with actually getting or managing your finances. Because at the end of the day, what you don't want is stress, because we know stress is not good for you. We'll go to resources. As students and young adults graduated from the institutions, we have different types of resources that enable us to do certain types of things. Like I said, a resource can only be something that is useful or something that is valuable to your life, that will bring economic benefit onto your life. So a mere cell phone gadget can be a resource if only you use it in the right way. Your laptop, your data, and so forth. So now we have all types of resources. For example, from the universities, most universities have sent students data. But now, how is data a resource? Because now we've always had data, we've always been WhatsApping and being on social media. But now the catch is, now we need data to attend lectures. Now we need data to actually communicate, and you can't go to your friend or to whoever you want to speak with. Now we need data to do research, because now we are not in the institutions or workplace where they offer free Wi-Fi or any other benefits they do. So now it's important that you take that data and utilize it in a manner that will be useful to you. If you are supposed to be attending lectures, then use that data and attend the lectures. Don't go on WhatsApp and waste the data and post and watch other people's statuses. Go on Instagram, follow and look at other people's pictures. That is very expensive and it's not benefiting you anything. Unless the data is benefiting you, then the data is a resource to you. Our laptops, our cellular phones are also resources that we can also put to be resources unto our lives during this difficult time. So in conclusion, I like the reference the Minister of Finance likes using, Babuti Mboweni, about the aloe plant. He says the aloe forex survives and thrives when times are tough. It actually prefers less water. It wins even when it seems the odds are against it. Those are the individuals that we are supposed to be. Even against the odds, we are able to stand and thrive for whatever we want. We won't sit and let a lockdown and a coronavirus dictate our lives and be stressed and end up being not healthy and resulting in death or any sort. So now use this time and introspect yourself, introspect your finances, how you spend your money, how you acquire your money, so that you are able, even post-lockdown, when we go back to the institutions, when we go back to the workplaces, that we are ready for any sort of challenges that will be in. Because clearly, we are not sure on how the economy will be after this lockdown. And all signs are showing that it's going to be bad. So now it's better that we prepare ourselves. Let us strive to be the best against all odds. Happy Africa Day. Thank you very much.
Happy Africa Day, like our guest has said. So I am going to allow for a round of questions, comments, and suggestions, but using the chat option. All you have to do is press the option more on your mobile and use the chat option, and there we will have a question and answer session with our guest. But just to go over what he said, as students, life before lockdown in our different institutions was either us getting a bursary, a loan, however we were funded, and then we'd also somehow get an allowance from back home if we were able to. And it's quite true. I can relate. And I'm sure a lot of you students can relate, because we like things. We honestly like things because in some cases we have the state of mind. I'm sorry, I'm going to refer back to last week's episode of mental health just to connect the dots. We somehow have this thing of wanting to fit in, thereby we end up, like you said, opening accounts. We easily we'll just be passing by the mall and someone will be saying, are you a student? We have student accounts, it's a 50% discount on a Thursday or whatnot. Come open an account, it's quite cheap, it's like 100 Rand a month. You can afford it, you have to look good to fit in so that you don't look like the outcast. But in actual fact, I always think that standing out is the best place. Being aligned and standing out is always the best place. But financially, we always we can't always rely on our bursaries and whatnot, because in this state we're in lockdown, and some of you guys are still actually getting your funds from schools. But instead of actually wanting to go buy clothes because we like trends and we like whatnot, I think it's important that we invest that money into something good, because now we're going to end up blaming the lockdown for what is going to come out after the lockdown, which won't be so good. And like he said, we need to budget. It's true. If this week you're going to go out and buy groceries, and just keep the slips and just to compare the prices and actually sit down and be like, okay, let's see, it's cheaper here, it's a bit more expensive there, because trust me, that 1 Rand makes a difference in a budget. It makes a difference. It means you can get something else. Like you said, that 10 Rand made a difference in their budget when they went to go buy pap from 40 something Rand to 30 something Rand. So it's true, buy in bulk. Like our social media participants also said, buy your things in bulk so that you know the next month that you need to go buy something else. You just actually buy something that is needed, that is missing from what you had, because the bulk is still there. So for me to take questions, we have a question from Mr. Mthombeni Gift. He says, is it safe to invest at this time? And if yes, which market is best to our monies? Temingos, would you take that, please?
Can I have all the questions and then answer them all at once?
Okay, and then we have another question from Mr. Zungula, the ATM president, is here with us. He says, what can students do to make money during lockdown? What are the practical ways we can be economically active as students? And those are the two questions we have at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much for those questions. I will start with the question of, is it safe to invest during this time of COVID-19? One of the positive impacts of COVID-19 on the global economy is that it is accelerating the pace of digital transformation within public and private organizations. So on asking on where to invest your money, is it safe or not? So it basically depends on what you are investing in. A lot of people are now investing their time in digital transformation within public and private organization. So basically, they are doing everything digitally and ensuring that they are able to make money out of that. So it just depends on what do you want to invest in, and how long. Is it a short-term investment and is it a long-term investment? Because currently we can't really have a clear picture of how the economy will be looking on a long-term situation. So it's very important to take that into consideration to ensure and have a calculated risk when you start to invest. And then the second question, which is, what can students do to make money during lockdown? Okay, it depends what type of a student are you. Some students are making money on digital platforms. Some students are out there using their hands and ensuring that they make things that are currently needed by the society and selling them. For example, everyone now is doing masks and sanitizers and selling that. But now it's important if you are a student, because we are very young and innovative, to come up with something that is different. Because once you want to make money, or you invest your time in something to ensure you get economic benefit from it, it is very important that you come with something that no one is doing. So, for example, I have a friend of mine who owns a car wash. Now he has a contract with all taxi owners from a taxi association that morning every day he will come and sanitize their taxis before they start working, and he will do it every 30 minutes for the duration of the day. So now that is something different than saying, I have sanitizers now, buy my sanitizer and sanitize your hands. Sanitizer is free for most of us, because when you get to a shop, we sanitize our hands for free. So as a student, you can do anything that no one is doing that we currently need. I read another article of a guy that bought 100,000 of these sort of bags that doctors wear on their shoes so that they don't contract any bacteria or diseases from the floor. So now that was actually a clever idea from this guy, that why not sell this to retailers, because now retailers are worried about the employees. Okay, it's fine, they are all sanitizing their hands, washing their hands regularly, but this virus can fall and sit on surface and survive for a certain amount of time. So now if employees walk on those surfaces, or it falls or on whatever they're working on, and then they go back home and they're working in the house and they have things or toddlers in the house, then the virus could spread. So it's important to think of something very innovative like what the guy thought of. So now all these employees from retail shops are now going to start wearing those protective baggies to protect their feet. So now, how do students participate in the economy? That is a very important question, because I believe success and the future is on young minds. If the students are programmed or taught in the correct manner, then they are able to ensure that they contribute to the economy. So now, how do we do that? We do that by the knowledge we acquire from the institutions. When we go to the institutions, you don't just learn to get a job, but you learn to become a better person that will bring change onto the economy, onto the country. So as we have students that are studying all different types of courses, we come out of the institution to bring change and to ensure that it is we have a better situation after we have studied. It's very important to allow young people to participate in the economy, because they are one of the people that are always curious. And once you have a curious mind, then a lot of questions will come from that. So now if there is questions, then they will require answers. And once there are answers, there will be innovation. So it's very important that we go out and participate in the economy from whatever knowledge we acquire from the institutions. Young people can participate in the economy by starting up businesses. It's clear that unemployment rate will skyrocket after this lockdown. So there are no jobs for everyone. So once you leave that institution, you must be well equipped that you can start something off and be able to make a difference from yourself and not just relying on employment, which is very important as we see the current state of the economy. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have two more questions. One from Luyolo Zulu. He says, what can we as TASA do to promote entrepreneurial spirits within us? And secondly, are there any financial books you could recommend in order to pursue the financial freedom that is needed?
Okay. Thank you very much. I just missed the first question. Okay, how can TASA encourage entrepreneurial spirit? Okay, as TASA, we are given a lot of opportunity and a lot of time where we can just sit and be in a conference and do whatever we wish to do to ensure that we grow and we are well equipped once we leave the association. So now we can have a slot from our gathering where we encourage each other, or we actually research what is entrepreneurship, how is entrepreneurship different to being self-employed, and what are the strategies, and how can we start being entrepreneurs once we leave the institution. We can also, as TASA, because most of our alumni are entrepreneurs, are in business, have those alumni to become mentors to us and mentor us into that direction, because unfortunately we can't all be going for employment. So since they were able to go into business and being entrepreneurs, then we can get them to come and inspire and motivate us. And lastly, it's a matter of a personal decision, whether you want something that is stable and you work 9 to 5 each and every day, or you want to go out there and bring innovation by your own and in your own time. So now it's important for one to make that decision that I want to do this, and then we gather and do something about it. And then the last question on any financial books that I've read
I should recommend.
That I would recommend. Okay, the first book that I've read is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's one of the most famous book and written by a well-known author, and it's one of the best-selling books. It's a very great book. Read it; it will bring change onto your life. There is also one book that I currently finished. It's The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's also a book by a well-known author, which says Think Rich to Get Rich. And there is more books out there, just that I can't mention all of them. But I've also read the Vusi Thembakwayo book. Is also a very great book to read in terms of going to become an entrepreneur. Thank you.
We have a comment from Mr. Vuyo Zungula saying, thank you for highlighting the need to drive entrepreneurial spirit. 1 in 2 people in African countries are entrepreneurs, but in South Africa, only 1 in 10 is an entrepreneur. I'm glad TASA is doing something to change all of that. Okay, and that was it from our guest, and that is it from Finances and Resources. Not waste any more further time because we work on time. All questions will be captured and answered and edited into our video, and it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, mytasaonline. Like our social media pages on Facebook, 12 Apostles Student Association. On Instagram and Twitter, it's TASA_int. And that is it. Remember to budget, set financial goals, introspect, buy what you need, not what you want. Do away with credit accounts, because at the end, in most cases, people with credit accounts actually, they go on the bad credit list, and they, in the future, I don't think people are aware how important it is for you to have a clear credit record, because it plays a role in employment. It plays a role whether you are able to get certain things or not, whether you're applying for accommodation to stay, whether anything, they do a credit check. And if your credit is bad, then in most cases, that is why you're not getting anything. And I'm sure not a lot of people are aware of that. Your credit plays a very huge role. Do responsible spending, and remember, your resources are only resources if they add value to your life. Let's start our businesses. Do something you enjoy. For me, I enjoy baking, so I might as well just start baking and selling cakes to bring in the money, because we are not sure. There's so much uncertainty. There's so much unknown happening right now globally. So I hope you guys are safe, washing your hands. And yes, I have African earrings on. Happy Africa Day. And from us and my TASA Online team, we are saying thank you.
Thank you for watching. Please be sure to check the description box below to find TASA in your province. And be sure to subscribe for more on us.
For any more suggestions or comments or anything, please contact us on mytasaonline.